I got more trash. PragerU is finally going to do what they should have done all along, okay? What they should have done all along. And delete their account, you say? No. They're going to teach us about racism. That's right, PragerU, the best source for learning about racism and the facts around it. Yep, that's how it works. That's how it happens. All right. I'm pretty sure maybe we shouldn't listen to PragerU, but let's go. I haven't looked at this video. I haven't looked at it. How much do you want to bet it's a black person that tells us racism isn't bad, by the way? It's either that or it's Dennis, but my money's going on black person. I'm assuming this is a how-to. Are the credits transferable? I don't know. Do a poll? Okay, we'll do a poll. We'll run a poll before we watch this video. Who's the host? A black person? A white person? We'll just do it for 1 minute. We'll start that poll. There's no way, right? There's just no way it's a white person. I'd be very surprised. If it's a white person, wow. Even better, I think, right? But they always tokenize. PragerU is known for tokenizing. They'll be like, oh, look, we got a black person to say that racism is the thing. They've done it with Candace Owens. They've done it with Officer Tatum. They did it with that one. There was one guy on here who was like, racism can't be real. I had my family had money, right? Like, yeah. I believe in their propensity for tone deafness. Yeah. Not surprised. Amazing. So it looks like chat thinks, pretty overwhelmingly, this is a landslide in political cases. You think the host will be a black person on this PragerU video. I'm not surprised, and that's how I would have voted as well. Crystal Cat, thank you for the biddies during that as well. I appreciate you. So here's PragerU. Let's see who it's gonna be. What can I teach you about racism from PragerU? Oh, this is not gonna be good. This is not gonna be good at all, is it? So all right.
Let me tell you how my story ends.
We fucking crushed it, chat. Come on. Give yourself a round of applause. Give yourself a round of applause. This is how my story ends. I was successful. What do you want to bet? I'm successful. Racism's not real. We've watched so many of these, you could predict them. I'm fucking Cornstradamus over here, okay? Fucking Cornstradamus. Which, by the way, should be an emote. Cornstradamus. Jesus fuck. Alright, let's see it. I'll tell you how my story ends. I'm successful, so racism's not a thing, right? Here we go.
I become a tenured, award-winning professor of political science at an Ivy League university. And then at one of the leading universities in the South.
There we are. What'd I fucking say? Fucking called it again. 13 seconds? Predicted. Are you kidding me? Wow. Jesus Christ. Thanks so much. Predicted. Hey, look at you. You winners. Look at red team over here. Blue team. Boo. Token. Predicted token. Nice. Okay.
Now let me tell you how my story begins.
Okay, Rublum, thanks so much for giving one to Tuba Steve. By the way, she has the voice of the lady version of why can't I think of his name? Wait, what? Why can't I think of his name? Uh-oh, having a stroke, chat. Morgan Freeman. She has the same voice. She has the same intonation. Damn, look at that. Look at that. So you just did a channel point reward challenge, by the way. And some of you won or lost. You get a little badge next to your name. That's fun when we do those polls and stuff. Morgan Freeman. Cleveland Brown. Morgan Freeman. Cleveland Brown. Morgan Freeman. It's very similar.
I grew up in rural Virginia, literally dirt poor. I dropped out of school in the 8th grade and had 3 children by the time I'm 20.
Yeesh.
I consider myself to be a reasonably modest person, but even I have to admit that's quite a journey. How did I do it? I worked hard. Not crazy 24/7 hard, just hard.
Okay.
I made good decisions.
All
Not
right.
brilliant three-dimensional chess decisions,
Oh, boy.
just good ones.
Yep.
I met people along the way who helped me and sincerely wanted to see me succeed.
Let's take a little gander at the people that helped her succeed. Even in their example, 3 out of 4 are white. Weird. Strange. I have bootstraps, but also I was privileged enough to have the ability to ask for people for help. And now they could have all been black, and this wouldn't be very different, right? Because the idea here is obviously privilege, right? Like just because you start underprivileged, like for example, ya boy Cornstradamus, okay? I was poor for a lot of my life. I remember, I grew up middle class, and then when I was 17. Set the shallow. Thanks for following. When I was 17, I moved out of the house, and I was poor for a long time. Almost a decade, not quite, almost though, and just abject poverty. Trying to go to school. My dad pulled out from underneath me the funding for college he said he was going to give me, and he retired a millionaire. It would have been fine. So I've been pulled from wills from both my dad and my grandfather. Haven't been helped at all, really. The person that helped me most is my mom, who is poor as fuck. I make more money than her, and she's helped me absolutely the most, and it's not even close. And but I still had the privilege of having a mom that would help. I had the privilege of knowing some people that were talented that would help me on my way. I had the privilege of having a safe community. I have a lot of these different privileges that come with stuff. Even though I started from what definitely people would consider the bottom. I'm certainly not at the top, but I mean, like, you can see right down in the corner here, I'm not doing terrible. 2,200 sub points from my glorious chat and this really dope community. I'm very happy and fortunate to be in the position I am. There's some talent, yes. I do work hard, yes. Absolutely. But people who work as hard or harder than me, even sometimes people with more talent than me, don't always succeed in this space. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just wild. If Steve Martin can be successful, anyone can. After all, he was born a poor black child. Oh boy. Steve Martin. That's a reference to that movie that I forgot. But yeah, sounds like your dad's side sounds bad. Oh yeah, they are pretty bad. But that's okay. Actually, just my dad and my grandfather are really the worst. I like all 4 of my. Well, I got 2 uncles, 2 aunts on that side, and I like all my cousins on that side as well. But yeah, my mom sounds like an amazing lady. She has her faults, but she's pretty good. She loves everybody a lot. That's like her thing. She can be a lot to deal with, and after about 3 hours, you would have your fill as well. But she definitely loves everybody, and that's what the point is, right? She just yeah. What's the story behind the granddad? Well, it's my father's dad. There's some influence there. But anyway, this isn't having success isn't not racism.
Not because they had something to gain, but because they were decent people.
Okay.
Almost all of these individuals, by the way, were white.
Okay. three, and by the way, I guess they actually were white. 3 non-racist, or at least not super racist, white people. That means no racism. Are you Jake's mom? No, I'm older than Sushi Mom. Yeah. They're white, so that means no racism. Hey, by the way, I exist. I have single-handedly defeated racism. So, I mean, not too shabby. Just saying. Just saying. Yeah, I found 3 people without cancer. That means cancer doesn't exist, but the 4th did have cancer. That's okay.
But mostly, I think I was blessed in one crucial way. I was born in America, a true land of opportunity for anyone of any color or background.
But Jake, PragerU has a counter argument. You are white and she is black, so therefore it's impossible for you to contradict her according to SJW law. True, I forgot. True. So a land of opportunity for anyone of any color or background. You have very specific avenues of opportunity. So, no, not true.
In this country, where you start your life does not determine where you end up.
It doesn't determine it, but it certainly like, okay, so if you did, and I guarantee you this is true. I guarantee it. If you did a broad study of every single American citizen, every single one of them, which you couldn't do, but literally every single one, and you just looked at it through class, right? Just through class. You could do another layer of race after the fact, and it would affect, again, minority people would be at the bottom. If you did just class, just poor people, I guarantee they're and that's most people in the United States are not super well off. I guarantee you they would plateau at a lower point than any other class. I guarantee that. And we're just looking at capital earnings, right? Because that's all that they care about. That's all they're talking about. Right. Yeah. And I was going to just mention this, the disabled population. Wow. Wow does America like to abandon those people? Yep. Shouldn't have gotten fibromyalgia. That's true. Nope. Shouldn't have bone diseases. Shouldn't have gotten into a car accident as a child. It was definitely your fault. Yep.
That works in both directions, by the way. You can start out with every advantage and waste them all.
That's definitely possible. Here's the thing. That shouldn't happen. That is unethical. The fact that there is a bottom that leads to literally the lack of survival is unethical. We're not the greatest country in the world until we get rid of death due to poverty. There is no reason you should die from poverty. None whatsoever. Poverty should not be a death sentence. It shouldn't affect your survival. We also shouldn't criminalize poverty. This is stupid. If I was president, I would make it federally illegal to have anti-homeless structures. So, those little fucking rivets and those spikes and those bars, get rid of all of them. And then after that, I would just get rid of poverty because it's literally that easy. It's quite literally that easy. All you have to do is just not let them have no shelter. Done. It's done. You fixed it. Wait, why call yourself great if you have a homeless population and the highest incarcerations on the planet? Not even per capita. It's both per capita and literally. And we're not the most populous country. So what's the point? What's the fucking point? By the way, Donald Trump this year put to death more federal prisoners than in the last 170 years combined. Just tossing that out there.
Or you can start out with nothing and become a success. It all depends on you.
No, that's not true. On Sundays, I have a discussion with former NFL running back Arian Foster, who, and we have many discussions about this. He started from what I believe PragerU would consider the bottom, a poor family. There were drugs in the community. There was gang violence. There was just crime in general. There was abuse at home at the hands of his dad, who has since come around and turns out he's a great guy after he got some help with that shit. And he's got a great mom who tried her best. But Arian talks about this and has talked about how he has always just had a knack for athletics. Now, that's not to say that he didn't try or work at anything. It doesn't mean he didn't practice or didn't put work in at all. He did work hard and does. But here's the thing. He also agrees that he had certain privileges along the way. He showed an aptitude for this. And so as part of that, the community saw him and was like, this guy has a chance to get out. We're not going to affect him with the bullshit that affects every other person. We're not going to let him do certain things, or we're going to embolden him in certain places. And this is very common in black communities where crime is a thing. The poor communities specifically. This happens a little bit in white communities as well, but again, there's usually familial wealth, which prevents white poverty in the way that it exists for black people. Because we had rights, surprise, since the inception of the country, and black people got them in 1968, 1969. So, I mean, because, yeah, we're totally not a racist country. Anyway, he talks about this. He talks about there were definitely certain privileges along the way, including his own just biology, that led to a really fantastic life. And he grabbed every moment that he could, and he worked really hard, and it's not like... And this takes nothing away from him, but it also, he has come to understand, the many points of privilege along the way that he is blessed with, just as a natural state of his existence. And it's to not understand that is blindness, right? And now this is a guy who's going to use his immense wealth that he accrued to take care of his family. He has a few kids. He has lots of family and friends that he wants to make sure are okay. He's also going to open a at-cost food dispensary for Houston, where he lives, like a store where things are really cheap, so that the poor community can afford food. This is the kind of shit that you can do if you just happen to be a decent person, right? If you just happen to be a decent person, just understanding where your privilege comes from. He still experiences racism to this day, all the time, literally all the time. He experiences racism. It's in part of the time that can hold you back. Say for instance, he didn't have this NFL career. A big example of racism that he experienced recently that he was talking to me about was he got an Airbnb when they were doing because again, he's a rapper. I mentioned this earlier in stream, but not in this video. And he's a very successful. Very successful in that he makes good music. Some people think ex-athletes can't do music. And sometimes they really can't. Shaquille O'Neal exists, but or at least not do it well. He does a really good job. And so he went on a little tour in the South and around the bottom of the country and in Texas where he lives. And he had an Airbnb. It was him and some of his friends, all black guys. And when they got there, they were unpacking and putting some equipment away and going to the Airbnb and to sleep in the middle of the tour. And the lady that they rented the Airbnb from, which Arian has people that help him with that kind of stuff when he's got to coordinate things. For instance, one time through those people, we got flown out to do the podcast with him. That's the last time we were able to hang out before Corona hit. And so the lady comes out and was really mad that 4 or 5 black guys were renting her Airbnb, and she was really upset. She was going to call the cops and shit, and because she didn't realize that they were black. And I'm not making that up. That's just how it worked. And so when Bobby Fino is experiencing racism, and especially in a state where he was. He achieved actual fame. This guy's been in literal movies. Have you seen Baywatch? He's been in that. He's been in Draft Day and shit like that. This is a real guy at the height of what American success is considered, a millionaire. And no, he still experiences racism every day. Microaggressive shit, normal shit, and then above average shit like that. So, I mean, but it's an Airbnb. I know, right? Yeah, fuck that lady. Anyway, they ended up leaving and going somewhere else, not giving her money for it. But yeah, same shit. So I mean, being successful doesn't mean racism is gone. Sarah was also yelling in the background there, and I have no idea why. Probably irrelevant. She's totally fine, I'm sure.
Your attitude is far more important than your race, gender, or social class in determining what you will accomplish in life.
It's also just luck a lot of the time.
When I hear young blacks, or anyone
Ugh.
for that matter, talk about systemic racism, I don't know whether to laugh or cry. I want to laugh because it's such nonsense. I want to cry because I know it's pushing untold numbers of young blacks into a dead end of self-pity and despair.
Young blacks. Okay. All right. This isn't how black people tend to respond to systemic racism. I don't know any black person that is just self-pitying. I don't know. I've never met a person that is black that is like, oh, I pity myself. Like, what? What? That's not a thing. Systemic racism. Let me say this out. Boxalox, thanks for following. Systemic racism has nothing to do with how much money you make in cap. Like, if you're successful, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Racism can exist outside of markets. Racism can also exist in markets. It's racism doesn't get a pass because you can afford rent. Eyes on J-Dog, thanks for following. It's so dumb. It's so stupid. Ugh. Jesus Christ. I literally slip into tears when someone slips the N-word. Fuck. Short Fat Otaku infiltrating Vosh's stream. I don't care about Vosh's stream, bro. Who gives a shit about that? Are we on Vosh's stream? Go watch that. Just go enjoy that. Who cares? Short Fat Otaku infiltrated my stream with his dumbass. Okay, go tell Vosh. Jesus fucking Christ. That's so frustrating. Almost as frustrating as this video. Almost.
Instead of seizing the amazing opportunities America offers them, they seize an excuse to explain why they're not succeeding.
That's not an excuse! Ah! Capitalism is the issue here. It's not always racism. Most people that are black that do not succeed, air quotes, under capitalism, is literally not due to racism all the time. It's usually due to capitalism. But it's the systemic issue of capitalism and racism and where they intersect, where sometimes it might not even be active racism. It might just be latent racism baked within the actual system that causes that kind of thing. Like what? Like, what? It's not an excuse. It's just part of the broader explanation of how someone's life can turn out. It's not even internalized racism. It doesn't have to be internalized. It's not about black people having internalized racism like this lady. It's about literally the baked-in aspects of how our system works. A great example is housing, lack of familial wealth, right? Like there's a big problem with black communities because familial wealth hasn't been able to have time to build up in black communities. You see it getting better every year, of course, because they've had rights since 1968 to be able to accrue familial wealth in the way that white people have been able to accrue it, equality under the law, which is super important, right? So you've only had, literally my mom is older than that by a little bit, right? So like 10 years or something like that, maybe a little bit longer. So she was 30. She's 10 years older. She's born in 58. So she's 10 years older than black people have had equal rights under the law, dude. She was 10 years old when the civil rights happened. Like, what? She was 11 when was it Bobby Kennedy got shot and MLK and shit? He got killed in 69, right? I think that was also Apollo, one of the Apollo missions. But like, how in the world are you supposed to expect people to fight classism and then have the added baggage of racism on top of it. Like, it happens a lot. Like, and then inside of those communities sometimes, especially in the South, there's this sort of like, sometimes there's this mentality, right? I was watching and this is more older generation, it's starting to stop now. There was this documentary about barbecue or whatever. I think it's Chef's Table, but it was a specific barbecue guy. I can't remember his name at this point. He lives in North Carolina, and he's very popular. He has a barbecue place now, and it's one of the most popular places in the state. And his dad used to run this little itty bitty barbecue shop down in North Carolina. And if you're from the area, you probably understand how it's pretty common to have like barbecue places. He was working on whole pigs and shit and like shredding pork and whatever. And when he graduated high school, there was a lot of people in his community, and this is you hear this around every once in a while. This sort of like they're not going to want a country boy like you moving around. You see this in white communities as well. And this is part of the classist issue that people have to face, where you just like come from a poor community, you're a working class person, like you wake up in the morning and you cook hogs and shred the meat and stuff. Like that's a really working class. Like that's the working class of the working class, the people that are feeding the working class. Like that's that kind of job there. And you see this from a classist perspective. It's like you already have to fight that. And that's a lot of people's experiences. And that happens even more often in black communities because they don't have, their parents, right? Like my mom is what, 62? So someone who's 52 grew up with rights under the law if they're black, right? What is that? So your kid is what? At the latest, probably in their 30s, somewhere in their 20s, probably. You don't have familial wealth built up, really. You know what I'm saying? Like this isn't like, it's not new. You just they don't have the opportunities that even I had, or my mom had a little bit of money necessarily, and she was able to help me with my car when it got broken, and she helped me with books my first semester ever in college. I handled it all after that, but like, there's no old money. There's none of that. Like built up. Now it does happen in some communities where there was some fortunate individuals, but it's not like community wide. And this is very distinctly different than the white experience. And to not understand that is wild to me. Absolutely wild.
I was born into a world where systemic racism was real. No fooling, outright bigotry, back of the bus real.
Yeah, that's how racism works.
But here's what you need to know. Yes, that racism shaped the black experience, but even then, it did not define it. Change was in the air. Call it systemic reform. The modern civil rights movement was in its infancy, and the leaders who fought for equal rights for blacks were men and women of all races.
That's true. That's still true now. Why wouldn't you have solidarity among other people? What?
Her ramble was,
I guess solidarity, like intersectionality, means racism isn't real? Noodle, thanks for following.
They believed in America and were determined to see it live up to its highest ideals manifest in the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution.
Oh, really? The U.S. Constitution, that's fascinating. Let's read you want to read it a little bit? Want to read some U.S. Constitution chat? Okay. All right. We could do that. We could. Well. Okay. This is the U.S. Constitution. Representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned among the several states which may be included within this union according to their respective numbers, which shall be determined by adding to the whole number of free persons, weird, including those bound to service for a term of years, and excluding Indians not taxed, 3/5 of all other persons. That's the 3/5 compromise, which, of course, is Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution of the United States of America. It's right after the part where it goes, we the people of the United States. Yeah. We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide a common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Interesting that the 3/5 compromise is in there right at the beginning. It's literally, so here's the first page. Here's the first page of the Constitution. Here's the 3/5 compromise, that underlined portion. Not much into the Constitution. Are they like, well, you're only 3/5 of a person. Okay, cool.
Did I know growing up that George Washington and Thomas Jefferson owned slaves? I don't think I ever thought about it.
That's because you weren't educated well. Probably because you were born in a black community and they didn't want to fund your schools.
If I did, I'd like to think that I would have had enough common sense to know that we can't judge men who lived 250 years ago by the moral standards of our own day.
You can judge them by the moral standards of their own day, in which abolitionists existed and anti-slavery and anti-racist people existed. What? We absolutely can. What? They literally were contemporary to those people. I don't know why you're, what? They were literally anti-racist and anti-slavery people throughout the world. I don't know why you're surprised about this. Probably because you didn't learn about it.
But I know that Jefferson wrote the words in the Declaration of Independence that made slavery ultimately impossible, that all men are created equal.
In the Declaration of Independence? That's not why... What? What? The Declaration of Independence is not a legislative thing at all. It has nothing to do with that. What? It's not a thing. The Declaration of Independence is just that much. Just this much. This is the Constitution. This is the Declaration. It doesn't really have a lot to do with that. All this other stuff is forward. The introduction. This is... you see how much I use this thing. It's falling apart. It's a great volume of it, though. From Bantam Classic. This is bullshit. I thought she was an educator. Why is she stupid?
And I know that Washington, Hamilton, Franklin, and Adams and the rest of the founders risked everything to make my world, my America, possible.
Yeah, by ensuring that slavery could happen in the lower 13 colonies, and then slowly expanding westward as states were involved so that they could use the cash crops to make up for the fact that they lost the British as a part of a monetary lattice on which the country could stand. Strange, weird.
How could I not be grateful for that and for the sacrifices so many others have made to preserve it? The truth is, I cannot remember a time when I did not love America and feel pride in the belief that I live in the greatest country in the world.
Oh, so now we're just sucking on American ding dong. All right.
I knew if I diligently pursued my ambitions, I could leave the poverty of my early years with all its abuse and depression behind me.
Okay, so poverty is not the same thing as racism. Next life after. Thanks for following. Appreciate that. She got her doctorate degree in bootlicking. That's true. Sorry, Harriet. That railroad shit didn't really help that much. Jesus Christ.
I was fortunate in another way. I was spared the life-sapping, negative messages about America that are crippling a generation of young people.
Yeah, if only they could experience crippling poverty and having to sit at the back of the bus and use different water fountains and not be served in different restaurants, surely they would have no sort of crippling depression at all. Fuck. Jesus Christ.
These ideas are poison. White privilege, whiteness as a form of property, unconscious racism, reparations, microaggressions. Police have it out for blacks. That the United States was created to protect and promote slavery.
The United States was created to protect and promote Americans who didn't want to pay taxes for the protection of the British against the Spanish and the French when they were competing for land in the North and South, respectively. And then they used slavery as a lattice to fund that project. When they decided to go for independence, they decided to stick with the slavery and keep doing the cash cropping, and they did it for like over 100 more years. So like, yeah, I think maybe, you know, the United States was definitely protectionist about their own slavery, and to disagree with that is to just be ignorant. Well, that's okay. Yeah, why the 3/5 compromise if not to protect and promote slavery? Strange. Kings it, thanks so much for the 6 months. States were admitted in pairs because why again? Interesting.
These are the ideas young people are told they must accept, and then they're told to reject the ideas that can save them, the antidote. The success principles that enabled me,
capitalism,
and millions of other Americans to escape lives of poverty. These principles aren't complicated. Work hard. Learn from your mistakes. Take personal responsibility for your actions.
Do you want to know how I fix poverty? Wait, where's that? Where's that little thing?
Escape lives of poverty.
Success principles to escape lives of poverty. Okay, let's do it. Success principles to escape lives of poverty. How about we get rid of the word success? Just principles to escape lives of poverty. Don't allow poverty from a federal perspective. Boom! I fixed it. We just fixed poverty. Don't allow it. Crushed it. It's not allowed. UBI, shelter, internet access, food, water, education, healthcare, all of that's free. Cell phone probably also free. Like a, low-end cell phone that you just can access the internet, engage with people in the world. That's it. We're done. That's it. We just fixed it. No more poverty. Woo! Yeah, internet should be a public utility. No, we can still be taxed for it, absolutely, but it should be a public utility at this point. It's as needed as like plumbing, or just it's not as needed. It's in the bracket just below that. It's electricity, right? Her video reminds me of this. All right, better be worth it. 3-beat slide. That sounds like a fucking I can't watch music. Narrator, you're on your last leg here, narrator. No music links. You need internet to get a job anymore. Exactly. I can't watch music on Twitch. Stromboli for Wi-Fi. Thanks for the 4 months. Love you and Hannah. Gotta change name soon because of ID theft. Can't stand these PragerU vids, but you make it entertaining. By the way, why don't you post your full streams like Hannah? Because you gotta be here to get the full streams. Like Jake. Why don't you just stuff like other Strombolis? Oh, it's because you're your own person? That's probably why. It's probably because you make different decisions than other people. Yeah. Come here if you want that. If you want the beef, okay? You go there for the trimmings.
Poverty. These principles aren't complicated. Work hard. Learn from your mistakes. Take personal responsibility for your actions.
So stupid.
When I made the decisions to get my high school equivalency, attend a community college, and then earn 4 additional college and university degrees, I believed that my education would open doors, and it did.
Why are we making why are there monetary preventatives towards attaining these degrees? That's a good example of something that we could do. Oh wait, I already said education. Snap. I already said it. Weird.
It was only when exposed to academic theories of oppression in graduate school that I was informed that because I was black, poor, and female, I could never do what I had already accomplished.
No, that's not what it says. Oh my God. It's like having stairs, okay? You gotta climb more stairs to do the thing. If you're good at climbing stairs, like you're fit or something, if you happen to have the capabilities to accomplish the tasks, cool. No one gets in your way and stops you. No one pours water and then freezes it on any of the steps. No one ever takes steps out and unless you fall down to the bottom step. No one pushes you down. No one carves away or makes brittle any of your steps. Yeah. Okay? And on the way, sure, you're going to have some place to go, but you still got to climb the stairs to get what you're at. And you're like what? What? So what if someone else can't climb the steps? Right? What if someone else just literally, like you have the aptitude to get 4 degrees? I'm sus on whether or not all of those are valid, but let's just go out on a limb and say, okay, every single one of your degrees is like from a reputable place and you earned each one of them. Okay, and none of them are from like fucking Liberty University or Trump U. You know what I'm saying? Then do you think everybody has the aptitude for that? Do you think everybody has the opportunity for that? Even within poverty, it's easy to get your high school diploma and then go to community college. So did you not have the privilege of having any family to watch your children? Did you have to pay for childcare? How did that work? Did you have a spouse? I have no idea how it worked. So you didn't have anyone to help you through any of that? You already said you had 4 other individuals help you quite a bit through some of that. Was it any of that monetary? Fascinating. It'd be very interesting to learn where points of privilege pop up to help you up the stairs, right? Not everybody has these things. Some people only have themselves, and some people are held back by other people. So for various reasons, but a lot of the times those various reasons boil down to demographic factors you can't change about yourself. And we know this to be true. It literally bears itself out in every study that ever examines this. All of them. Every single one. Like, it's wild. Were they teachers? That's pretty fortunate in a public school setting, of course. I have no idea. She doesn't say. I'm assuming there are probably people that gave her money along the way, or gave her a place to stay, or alleviated the pressure that capitalism put on her in some way. Because that's almost always what the problem is. It's almost always a capitalism problem, and then little things exacerbate it, right? And then racism, sexism, and stuff like that come into play after the fact to add to the burden of these things already. If you got rid of them, right? If you got rid of capitalism, you'd still have these burdens, but they wouldn't be able to harm as much because you wouldn't be on a set of stairs. You'd be on a fucking sidewalk. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to walk in mud, but you wouldn't have to be going up or down. You can't fall. That's the difference.
Thank God it was too late for these toxic messages to stop me. Don't let them stop you. I'm Carol Swain, host of Be the People podcast and retired professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University for Prager University.
So you worked at Vanderbilt.
Thank you for watching.
But where did you get your shit? Carol Swain. Let's look up Carol Swain. Carol Swain. Carol Swain. Retired. So you were 12 when you got legal right protections under the law, of course. You were 12. A retired professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt, frequent conservative television analyst, author and editor of several books. Her interests include race relations, immigration, representation, evangelical politics, and in the United States Constitution. Oh, you're evangelical? Fuck. Oh, and you're divorced. Yikers. Oh, weird. You've been a Republican since 2009. I'm utterly shocked. Blah blah, blah, blah. One of 12 children. Her father dropped out of school in the 3rd grade. Her mother dropped out of high school. Her father used to physically abuse her mother, Dorothy Henderson, who was disabled due to infantile paralysis. That's fucked up. Swain grew up in poverty, living in a shack without running water, and sharing 2 beds with her 11 siblings. Hey, thank you, Comrade Winter, for following. This person could have used a little good old communism. The second of 12 children, she did not have shoes and thus missed school whenever it snowed. She did not finish high school, dropping out in 9th grade. She moved to Roanoke with her family in the 1960s and appealed to a judge to be transferred to a foster home, which she was denied. Swain instead lived with a grandmother at a trailer park. After she divorced in 1975, Swain earned a GED and worked as a cashier at McDonald's, a door-to-door salesperson, and an assistant in a retirement facility. All of these are symptoms of capitalism, and bad, and not good. She later earned an associate degree from Virginia Western Community College. She earned a BA in criminal justice from Roanoke and a master's from Virginia Tech. All these are good colleges. While an undergraduate in Roanoke colleges, she organized a scholarship fund for black students that by 2002 had an endowment of $350,000. By the way, PragerU is against this kind of thing because they think it's racist. She finished a PhD in political science from University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill in 1989. In 2000, she earned a Master of Legal Studies from Yale Law School. Okay, so it had to be until 1989. You had to be 35 years old by the time you were able to get your master's degree in legal studies from Yale, which is fine. Like, if it takes you a long time to do a thing, it takes you a long time to do a thing. But she's been going after all of this education the whole time. Do you know how rare it is for someone to have access to any of this, right? I want to check out the allegations about her. Oh, boy. Suspend Professor Carol Swain from Vanderbilt. Oh, boy. It looks like she is not at Vanderbilt anymore. We are petitioning that Carol Swain be temporarily suspended from her position as a professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University, pending an investigation into student allegations of unprofessional intimidation on social media. Here's the allegations. Over the past few years, Carol Swain has become synonymous with bigotry, intolerance, and unprofessionalism. While Swain first and foremost has a right to bear her personal beliefs and the right to freedom of speech within and outside of the classroom, it recently came to attention of the Vanderbilt community that Carol Swain has let her hate-filled prejudices negatively impact her work, our student body, and Vanderbilt's reputation. Since the initial release of this petition, we have gathered significant feedback from the community and have decided to limit our grievances to the following 3 issues. Okay. Here, I'll make it bigger so you can read it better for yourself. Firstly, Professor Carol Swain has failed to clearly separate her role on her Facebook page as a public figure from the Vanderbilt name, creating a situation which the public may misconstrue her as speaking on behalf of the university. We want to make clear that Carol Swain in no way represents our alma mater, regardless of the fact that she teaches here. Secondly, there have been several instances in which students have contacted Professor Swain to hold an intellectual debate with her, and in return, she has resorted to name-calling and posting their personal contact information on her public page. In many cases, she's a debate bro. In many cases, students claimed this led to public shaming, intimidation, or harassment. You can't do this if you're a teacher. That's really bad. Additionally, several students who claim to have taken Professor Swain's classes have expressed concerns that minority students enrolled in her classes, especially those who are LGBTQIA plus and or non-Christians, expose themselves to unfair assessment in class and may receive lower grades than their peers simply because of their identities. At a university that prides itself on fairness, diversity, and inclusion, these allegations are entirely unacceptable if true. Wowzers. Wow. For those unfamiliar, here's articles that explain why she's a bag of shit. Biblical marriage. Oh, boy. If we must live side by side with gay couples in a culture with a strong crusading homosexual agenda, this is a quote from her, our only hope is to strengthen ourselves spiritually and intellectually for the battle that awaits us. Yikes. Yikes. Wow. Wow, she's just shitty. Oh, she's just super shitty. Holy shit. You should read this for yourself. I don't want to go over all of it, but oh my god. Yeah, she's a super Christian. Yep. Yikes. All right. So she's shitty. Are we surprised she's shitty? No, we're not.